Hey guys, Jennifer here. I am going to do a simple newborn Photoshop editing tutorial. Newborns are a special mix because they often have jaundice, which is yellow, red skin from being brand new and having a lot of high blood flow in their thin little areas, and also having baby acne and peeling skin. And so there can be a lot of detail work that goes into newborn sessions. And I just thought it might be interesting to take a peek and see how we correct those colors, those skin imperfections, and the overall image without taking away from the beauty of a simplistic newborn. So I've opened my image in Camera Raw, and here I'm just going to go ahead and do some of the main adjustments. These can also be done in Lightroom, which is actually what I normally do, and then batch these images, but I'm just pulling the shadows out, just trying to get the exposure right. I tend to shoot a little dark so that I don't overexpose and lose my details in the highlights. So this new texture button that they've added this past year is great. It kind of brings down that skin texture and looks just for those skin tones. And with newborns, I always bring the vibrance down because they're always very orange or very yellow or very red, and bringing that vibrance down can help. In the curves adjustments, I've just made a few more adjustments to pull some of those dark shadows out of his face because I really want it to look good. I'm not going to mess with sharpening. Here in the color mixer, I use luminance to help get the skin tone that I want, and also saturation. This is where we adjust those yellows. See that? If you pull those yellows out, it kind of pulls the white and brightens that up. Orange is going to be your main skin tone, and then with newborns, red is very important because they often have super red, well, like everything. I don't tend to do vignettes or anything like that, so we're just going to skip through all these and open up in Photoshop. Okay, so once it's open, I will usually go ahead and actually the update for Adobe has made this so good. I use the select subject and it really does a great job. So it's selected my subject. I'm going to hit Command J to make that a separate layer. And then another fun little trick, because I don't want to work on all the layers at once, is to hit Command and your layer image, and then go in, hit Select Inverse, go to make sure you're on your background like I did not just do, ha ha ha, and hit Command J. So now you have one layer with your background and one layer with your subject, and you can work on them separately. There are so many different ways to do this, but this is how I do them because I'm just doing simple edits. So I want to like get the background soft, but as you see where it selected my subject, it's going to give me like a definitive line that's going to show that I did some lighting there. So I pull back a little bit and brush it really soft so that it's not going right up against the edges of where his skin meets the fabric. Now I've selected his image, and I'm going to go in and do the detail work on his face. He had a lot of babies get clogged tear ducts, so he had that going on, and we got to go in here and get his little tear ducts and crusties and skin imperfections and just kind of get them cleaned up. And so that's what I'm doing here. And I use the clone, or not the clone snip tool, the spot healing tool. I zoom in, I use it very small, and I just get the little itty bitties. Get some of the yellow gunk, and if I don't like what it looks like, guess what? You could always just go back and hit Command Z and undo it, and I have to do that all the time. So as we're getting through doing these clicks, he is so cute. He was a really good baby. I love milk bubbles and spit bubbles from the mouth, so I never take those out. I think those are like the most precious things, so I'm going to leave those alone around his lips, and I'm just going to keep focusing on his eyes. Just kind of making sure they look really good and not crusty. So then I take a brush and I sample his brighter area of skin tone at about 20% opacity. I just brush it over his skin, mostly because I feel like it just really gives it a good evening out soft look that I really love with newborns. And like I said, not everybody does everything the exact same way, but I love his little facial fuzz. Gonna leave that alone. I don't want to smooth that. Okay, I don't like that. Command Z, getting rid of it. So here we have red fingers and red toes, and that is something that I use a few actions for. It's just a red reducing action. You can do it by making a color adjustment layer or color balance layer and adjusting it that way. Now it needs to be warmed back up so that he doesn't look cold. So I'm going to use the Greater Than Gatsby Skin Tone Peachy, which I love for newborns. And it just brightens and warms just slightly, which I love, love, love. Just a little bit. It's not too much. Then I'm going to use their Warm Me Up, which is just kind of like a warming filter, and I decrease that opacity down. And my favorite action of all is Paint the Moon's Velvet, which I run on just about everything, decreasing that opacity down to about 25%. Now, here's where I'm going to do my sharpening. I don't usually do it in RAW, I do it in Photoshop. And I'm just brushing that sharpening action onto his little facial features that I want sharp. And then I'm gonna do my cropping. I always do my cropping last, because when you're editing and you need to do you need to go back in time in history and maybe like undo it, if you've already cropped it, it won't let you. So saving that cropping for last is really important when you might need to go back and bring some of the original image back, like if you've overdone it. So I'm gonna crop with making sure first time I cropped his toes off, crying out loud, and this time I got his toes and brought the hat down and just get his face and his little body to be the story of this image, and we're done, and we're saving it. And there we go. So I hope that was informative, and I cannot wait to be doing more tutorials now that I have my home office. This has been the best to have a space that is just mine with all of my things, and it's really nice to be able to make these videos for you guys, and I can't wait to share with you. So feel free to let me know if they were helpful or if there's anything you'd want to see a tutorial on, and I'll be happy to do one of those someday soon. Bye.